Hello, Mohsen Jamal and you watch Afghan News. The United States Thursday accused the Iranian government of entering into a secret deal with Al-Qaeda to funnel money and fighters to Afghanistan and Pakistan. The U.S. Treasury Department slapped sanctions on 6 individuals operating in a network that they said serves as the core pipeline through which Al-Qaeda moves money, facilitators and operators from across the Middle East to South Asia, including to Ayatollah Abdul Rahman, key Al-Qaeda leader based in Pakistan, also designated Thursday. Among the individuals sanctioned is Izzeddin Abdulaziz Khalil, described by the Treasury Department as an Iran-based senior Al-Qaeda facilitator currently living and operating in Iran under an agreement between Al-Qaeda and the Iranian government. The Treasury Department says Khalil has been allowed to stay in Iran since 2005 and funnels money and recruits from around the Middle East into Iran and then to Al-Qaeda leaders in Pakistan, Afghanistan and in Iraq. The United States says Khalil has collected funds from donors in the Persian Gulf and that each recruit is required to deliver $10,000 to Al-Qaeda in Pakistan. Roadside mines killed 23 civilians in southern Afghanistan on Friday when a minibus and a tractor separately struck explosives in Helmand province, officials said. The minibus was traveling from Nahri district to the provincial capital of Lashkargah when it hit a mine and all 19 people inside were killed, said Kamaluddin, head of the National Directorate of Security in Helmand. When security forces arrived at the scene, they were attacked by the Taliban insurgents, said Hikmatullah Akmal, a highway police commander in Garamser district south of Lashkargah. Tractor also hit a roadside bomb, killing 4 civilians, officials said. The first half of this year was the deadliest 6 months for civilians in Afghanistan since the nearly decade-old war began, according to the UN mission in Afghanistan. The cost of British military operations in Afghanistan is now officially estimated to amount to more than £18 billion. Figures released Thursday show the cost of imposing a no-fly zone and bombing targets in Libya is so far officially estimated at £260 million. The figures are contained in a report by the UK House Commons Defence Committee, which makes it clear the sums are no more than estimates. The Defence Committee reveals that Ministry of Defence estimates the cost of military operations in Afghanistan this year to be more than £4 billion. However, the sums for Afghanistan and the £260 million estimated for Libya are described as additional costs of operations to be paid for by the Treasury out of its services. The lone surviving gunman from the 2008 Mumbai attacks that left 166 dead has approached the Indian Supreme Court asking for his death sentence to be overturned, a court source says. The source said on Friday the request by Muhammad Ajmal Amir Qasab had been filed via jail authorities in Mumbai, where he has been held since the attacks, and lodged with the Secretary General of the court. Meanwhile, police officer Rajinder Damante confirmed the appeal on Friday, saying Qasab had appealed to the Supreme Court in New Delhi. Pakistani national Qasab, one of the 10 gunmen who laid siege to the city for nearly 3 days, was first convicted and sentenced by a trial court in the Indian commercial and entertainment capital in May 2010. The death sentence was confirmed by the State High Court in February in the first failed appeal by the 23-year-old school dropout from a poor farming area in Pakistan's Punjab state. An explosion at a Ukrainian coal mine killed at least 16 miners Friday. 9 were missing, the Emergencies Ministry said. 3 miners were also hurt in the explosion at the Sukhodelska Eastern mine in the Luhansk region, the former Soviet Republic's coal mining heartland, it said in a statement. Reports quoting a regional mining official said the explosion was caused by a concentration of methane gas inside the mine, where 252 people were working at the time. The explosion in the early hours of Friday morning was the deadliest since 2007, when a methane blast at a nearby mine killed more than 100 people. The head of the Libyan rebels armed forces and 2 of his aides were killed by gunmen Thursday. The head of the rebel leadership has said the death of Abdel Fattah Younes, Gaddafi's interim minister before defecting to the rebels early in the uprising, was announced at a press conference in the de facto rebel capital Benghazi by the head of the rebels National Transitional Council, Mustafa Abdul Jalil, who told reporters that rebel security had arrested the head of the group behind the killing. Rebel security had arrested Younes and 2 of his aides early on Thursday from their operations room near the rebels' eastern front and was to be questioned about suspicions his family still had ties to Muammar Gaddafi's regime. Abdul Jalil called Younes one of the heroes of the 17th of February revolution, and a name marking the date of early protests against Gaddafi's regime. Also, at least 3 loud explosions shook the center of the Libyan capital Tripoli shortly after rebel forces announced the death of their commander-in-chief. Fighting erupted Friday between Syrian military intelligence agents and residents in the eastern city of Deir al-Zor after the killing of 5 protesters. Witnesses said popular unrest against 4 decades of repressive rule by the President Bashar al-Assad family, now in its 5th month, is taking on sectarian overtones, with protesters from the Sunni Muslim majority pitted against minority Alawites dominating the power elite. Military intelligence has been spearheading a crackdown in Syria's Sunni tribal east, a strategic oil-producing region near the border with Iraq. Sunday, Assad replaced the civilian governor of Deir al-Zor province with a secret police officer 2 days after the biggest pro-democracy demonstrations in the province so far. Thousands of Egyptians gathered in Cairo's Tahrir Square on Friday to show Islamists and others were united in wanting change. A senior Muslim Brotherhood official described the rally as a Friday of unity of all political forces. The Brotherhood and other Islamists had joined a big rally with other groups on July 8th, demanding a deeper purge of officials who served under ousted President Hosni Mubarak and swifter corruption trials. Islamists said they wanted to give the army time to respond. Other groups, such as the April 6 movement, have kept up the pressure, with some camping out in Tahrir. One of the persistent protester demands has been for a swifter trial of Mubarak, who was ousted on February 11th after an 18-day uprising. Bahrain's king has approved parliamentary reforms after the suppression of pro-democracy protests in March, but they fall short of demands made by opposition groups. The process reflects the determination of the participants to rise above the latest incidents. King Hamad bin Isa said in a televised speech on Thursday, after receiving a report by the state-appointed National Dialogue set up to address grievances after the government crackdown. The changes grant more powers of scrutiny for the elected lower house, but preserve the dominance of an upper house appointed by the royal elite. The country's largest Shiite opposition group, Wefaq, walked out of the dialogue last week, calling it theater. And that a Tunisian court has sentenced ousted President Zine al-Abidine bin Ali, his daughter and son-in-law in absentia, to serve prison terms and to pay a collective $100 million in damages. On Thursday, the court found the trio guilty of corruption and property deals. A nephew of bin Ali was also convicted of drug charges in the proceedings. Bin Ali has already been convicted in absentia twice in Tunisian courts in recent weeks for embezzlement and gun and drug smuggling. He fled to Saudi Arabia in January after a popular uprising against his autocratic 23-year rule that spurred revolts around the Arab world. Corruption in bin Ali's inner circle was one of the drivers of anger at his regime that fueled the protests earlier this year. And that's all for now. Thanks for staying with us.